You put it into the seed, into the ground of your own wonderful human imagination. Now bear in mind the vision has its own appointed hour. It ripens. It will flower. If it be long, wait, for it is sure and it will not be late, not for that seed. One seed may take 24 hours. Another may take, like a hen's egg, 21 days. A little lamb takes 5 months. A horse takes a year. Human being 9 months. So each seed has its own appointed hour. So don't be concerned. You did the work. All you need do is simply leave it alone. And don't raise one finger to make it so, and don't discuss it with anyone else.
The knot technique. Rooted in the teachings of figures like Neville Goddard, the knot technique offers a unique perspective on manifestation. At its core, the knot technique revolves around the idea of detachment and negation. Unlike conventional manifestation practices that emphasize visualization, affirmation, and positive thinking, the knot technique takes a different route. Instead of actively focusing on what one desires, practitioners of the knot technique deliberately adopt an attitude of indifference or even resistance towards their desires. This seemingly paradoxical approach aims to bypass the subconscious barriers that often hinder manifestation by subtly shifting the individual's relationship with their desires.
Now, if I wanted something in this world, and who doesn't, I would formulate an act which would imply that I had it. And then in my imagination, I would simply, having performed that act, I would yield completely to this being within me to execute it. I would fall off into sleep, convinced that he heard me, that he saw my act in faith.
If you're still watching the video, consider subscribing to The Elevated Soul. The genesis of the knot technique can be traced back to the teachings of Neville Goddard, a prominent figure in the New Thought movement of the mid-20th century. Goddard's lectures and writings explored the power of the human imagination and its role in shaping reality. Central to his teachings was the concept of assumption, the idea that one's deepest beliefs and assumptions about reality determine their lived experiences. Building upon this foundation, Goddard introduced the knot technique as a means of disrupting ingrained patterns of thought and belief that hindered manifestation. One of the key insights offered by the knot technique is the recognition of the subconscious mind's propensity to resist change. Despite our conscious desires and intentions, deeply ingrained beliefs and conditioning often create internal barriers that impede the manifestation process. These barriers may take the form of doubts, fears, limiting beliefs, or subconscious resistance to change. By consciously adopting an attitude of indifference or negation towards desired outcomes, practitioners of the knot technique seek to bypass these barriers and establish a new relationship with their desires. In practical terms, this technique can be applied in various ways, depending on the individual's goals and preferences. One common approach is the use of affirmations or declarations that assert one's indifference or lack of attachment to specific desires. For example, instead of affirming, "I am wealthy and abundant," a practitioner might declare, "I do not need wealth to feel fulfilled," or "I am content with what I have." By repeatedly affirming these statements, the individual sends a signal to their subconscious mind, challenging ingrained beliefs about scarcity and lack. Another strategy employed is the deliberate visualization of scenarios where the desired outcome is absent or irrelevant. Rather than picturing oneself achieving a specific goal or acquiring a desired object, the practitioner visualizes scenarios where the goal is unattainable or unnecessary. This may involve imagining oneself in a state of contentment and fulfillment without the need for external validation or material possessions. Through consistent practice, these visualizations help to reprogram the subconscious mind and cultivate a sense of detachment from specific outcomes. A fundamental principle underlying the knot technique is the recognition of the interconnectedness between thought, emotion, and manifestation. According to this perspective, the subconscious mind acts as a powerful filter that interprets and responds to the thoughts and emotions generated by the conscious mind. When one consistently affirms their indifference or lack of attachment to specific desires, they send a clear message to the subconscious mind, which in turn influences their reality. Moreover, the knot technique challenges conventional notions of desire and attachment, suggesting that true fulfillment lies not in the attainment of external goals, but in the cultivation of inner contentment and peace. By releasing attachment to specific outcomes and embracing a state of detachment, individuals free themselves from the cycle of desire and dissatisfaction that often accompanies the pursuit of external goals. Instead, they learn to find joy and satisfaction in the present moment, independent of external circumstances. This technique also offers insights into the nature of resistance and how it affects the manifestation process. Resistance, whether conscious or subconscious, arises from a fundamental fear of change or loss. When individuals cling too tightly to specific outcomes or desires, they inadvertently create resistance that blocks the flow of abundance and manifestation. By adopting an attitude of indifference or negation towards their desires, practitioners effectively neutralize this resistance, allowing the manifestation process to unfold with greater ease and fluidity. Furthermore, it highlights the importance of intention and attention in the manifestation process. Rather than directing their attention towards external goals or outcomes, practitioners learn to focus on cultivating positive feelings and emotions within themselves. By shifting their attention away from external desires and towards inner states of peace, joy, and abundance, individuals align themselves with the vibrational frequency of their desires, thereby facilitating their manifestation. In essence, the knot technique represents a radical departure from conventional manifestation practices by challenging deeply ingrained beliefs and conditioning that hindered the manifestation process. By adopting an attitude of indifference or negation towards their desires, practitioners free themselves from the grip of attachment and resistance, allowing the natural flow of abundance and manifestation to unfold. In doing so, they discover a newfound sense of inner peace, fulfillment, and empowerment that transcends the pursuit of external goals. As with any manifestation technique, the effectiveness of the knot technique ultimately depends on the individual's level of commitment, consistency, and belief. While some may find immediate success with the technique, others may require time and practice to overcome deeply ingrained patterns of thought and behavior. Nevertheless, for those willing to explore its principles and experiment with its application, the knot technique holds the potential to unlock new levels of abundance, joy, and fulfillment in their lives. If you're still watching the video, consider subscribing to The Elevated Soul. Until next time.